Reality check. The Obamacare architect says if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor, is true. But there's a catch. This is Special Report. Good evening, I'm Brett Baer. In politics, two people look at the same exact event in two completely different ways. Millions of Americans know firsthand that they could not keep their plan or their doctor like President Obama promised. To many people, that statement is a lie and it undermines trust. But to others, apparently that statement is still true, with a major caveat. Meanwhile, visitors to the Obamacare website are seeing what plans are costing in detail, and while those vary, you might suffer some sticker shock when you hear how much the website cost. We have Fox team coverage tonight. Peter Ducey looks at the revamped Obamacare site. But first, Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry has the latest from the White House. Hi, Ed.
Brad, the administration made sure that healthcare.gov got a fresh new look over the weekend, but the White House is still facing an old familiar problem: questions of credibility over how they sold this law to the public. First, President Obama and his aides had to adjust his promise that if you like your health plan, you can keep it. Now, one of the architects of the law, Ezekiel Emanuel, is adding a new caveat to another old pledge.
The president never said you were going to have unlimited choice of any doctor in the country you want to go. Let me just finish.
Wait, no. He asked a question. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Did he not say that, sir?
He didn't say you can have unlimited choice.
It's a simple yes or no question.
If you want to pay more for an insurance company that covers your doctor, you can do that. This is a matter of choice.
Republicans say that's a creative way of shifting the argument to you can keep your doctor if you want to pay for it.
We got to remember, back in 2009 when this law was being debated, 85% of Americans maybe weren't satisfied with the price of the health care, but they liked the health care plan they were on. They liked their doctor. But this administration decided to destroy the entire system to provide a strong social safety net. You didn't have to do that.
The president's allies continue to tout the benefits of building up that safety net. His political group, Organizing for Action, held nearly 100 events this weekend in New York, New Hampshire, and states all across the country. The president tweeting out today that many Americans without insurance are getting coverage by expanding Medicaid, while the administration released a report noting that 60% of the 4.2 million uninsured African Americans might qualify for Medicaid, the Children's Health Insurance Program, or tax credits to lower their premiums.
They can either score short-term political points by attacking the Affordable Care Act and blocking Medicaid, or they can save taxpayer dollars and ensure that thousands of their citizens have access to quality, affordable health care.
The cost to taxpayers, though, could be astronomical. A new report by the conservative nonprofit group National Center for Policy Analysis claims that in one state alone, Arizona, Medicaid expansion will cost taxpayers about $1 billion a year. Emanuel stressed that he still believes enough young and healthy people will sign up to pay into the system and help balance it out.
I think there is going to be a fiscally sustainable number.
Now, meanwhile, some state officials are warning there's another problem with healthcare.gov. It's telling some people they're eligible for Medicaid when, in fact, they're not. USA Today reporting today that could lead to scores of people dealing with this glitch and not being able to get insurance before the December 23rd deadline to enroll, Brett.
Ed Henry live on the North Lawn. Ed, thank you. Some people seem to think the revamped healthcare.gov looks better. But as correspondent Peter Ducey reports, looks can sometimes be deceiving.
There's a new feature at healthcare.gov that puts premiums, deductibles, and out-of-pocket costs on the same screen. No account or password necessary. So the prices are easy to see, but hard for some to swallow, because the average deductible is now 42% higher for the most basic bronze plans than the deductibles for similar plans before the Affordable Care Act took effect. Now some experts say sticker shock may hit sooner.
People who use medical services frequently are the ones who are going to be most affected by this out-of-pocket cost issue, obviously. If you are very healthy, you rarely see the doctor, deductibles become a bit of an academic point for you.
That's not all. Tech experts are saying the new window shopping feature does nothing to improve healthcare.gov's performance.
enough. It just seems like they're trying to put together and piece together a lot of different things to make the website at least functional or appear like they're continuing to make changes on it.
The chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee said today that government agencies are leaving healthcare.gov exposed.
Homeland Security is in charge of what they call the .gov space, the federal civilian space. Homeland Security is not doing anything to secure this website.
But the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services say, quote, when consumers fill out their online marketplace applications, they can trust that the information that they are providing is protected by stringent security standards. Security testing happens on an ongoing basis using industry best practices to appropriately safeguard consumers' personal information. Our research department estimates the site, which may or may not be safe, has already cost hundreds of millions of dollars to build. Meanwhile, some experts say that's hundreds of times too much.
You could do this site for under $1 million for exactly what it does right now, and keep it up and running and support the volume. 50,000 users a second is nothing in the real world.
We asked the administration to give us a precise price tag for healthcare.gov. They told us they're conducting an audit to add up all the costs, but that if we call back in 2 months, they might be able to give us some more details then. Brett?
All right, we'll call. Peter, thank you. Senior political analyst Britt Hume has some thoughts on President Obama's education in office. Good evening, Britt.
Hello, Brett. When the president last week blamed his health insurance malfunctions on government agencies, which he said were poorly designed and outmoded, it was a reminder of what Oscar Goodman, now the former mayor of Las Vegas, said after the president had more than once disparaged his city and tried to take it back. Mr. Obama, Goodman said, is a very slow learner. The inefficiency and sluggishness of the federal bureaucracy is known to every politician, indeed every citizen who has had any experience with it. But the president seems to have glided through his brief term in the Senate and 4+ years in the White House without noticing until now. Supremely self-confident and intelligent people who lack experience often learn lessons the hard way because they don't know enough to know how much they don't know. Rahm Emanuel, who was the president's chief of staff during the passage of Obamacare, urged the president not to try to overhaul the health system all at once. He had learned something in his days in the Clinton White House. But Mr. Obama was more attentive to experts like Rahm's brother Ezekiel, an academic like the president. He was the chief designer of Obamacare, now reduced to defending its broken promises on television and proclaiming, as he did yesterday, that what it needs now is a good PR campaign. And so we ride along with Mr. Obama on his learning curve. It has been a slow and bumpy ride. Brett?
Britt, domestically, the administration has its hands full with Obamacare. On the foreign policy front, there's a potential bump in the road with Iran sanctions in that there's a potential bipartisan deal in Congress to move forward with some kind of sanctions.
You're right. We're hearing tonight that Senator Lindsey Graham and several Republicans, joined by Democratic senators, among them Chuck Schumer of New York, senior man in the Democratic leadership, will hold a news conference on Wednesday to announce that they're going to introduce a bill that would apply much more stringent sanctions, or further stringent sanctions on Iran, unless Iran meets a set of conditions within about 6 months, conditions far stronger than any that have been imposed so far, and that would resemble the shape of what this group hopes would be the final outcome of negotiations. If the negotiations don't get us there, these sanctions would take effect.
That's a major embarrassment to the administration.
Well, it would be unless the administration chose to embrace it as saying it strengthens administration negotiators' hands. So far, the administration has not taken that attitude at all, and the problem then is that these sanctions might very easily pass the Senate, and if they pass the Senate, they'll almost certainly pass the House, forcing the president to use a veto against a bill heavily favored in his own party. That would not be a situation that he would like very much.
And a political problem for Democrats.
Exactly.
All right, Britt, thank you.
Okay.
A 30-car pileup in Milwaukee Sunday was just one of many accidents caused by icy roads across the country. The deep freeze that affected much of the country over the weekend is not letting up. Look at that. Plano, Texas, large sheets of ice fell off apartment buildings, damaging cars below. More than 1,500 flights were canceled nationwide. Forecasters expect more wintry conditions tonight and into Tuesday. American Airlines' merger with U.S. Airways went through today officially, creating the world's biggest airline, American Airlines Group. With that deal, 4 airlines control more than 80% of the air travel market. The airlines, facing less competition, have limited the number of seats, upping prices and profits. The U.S. government is out of the auto business. It sold the last shares of General Motors today. Taxpayers lost $10 billion on the 2009 bailout. GM stock was up over a percentage point today. Stocks were up today. The Dow added 5. The S&P 500 gained 3. The Nasdaq is up 6. Up next, it's crunch time for a budget deal. But first, here's what some of our Fox affiliates are covering across the country tonight. KTTV in L.A. is covering federal officials who filed 5 criminal cases against 18 current and former Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies. It's part of an FBI investigation into allegations of civil rights abuses and corruption in the nation's largest jail system. Fox 32 in Chicago is covering the Bears' retiring coach Mike Ditka's number at halftime during Monday Night Football tonight. Governor Pat Quinn's office also said he's declared it Mike Ditka Day. And this is a live look at Eden Prairie, Minnesota from our Fox affiliate there, KMSP. The big story there tonight, extreme cold weather we told you about earlier and the damage it's caused in that region. That's tonight's live look outside the Beltway from Special Report. We'll be right back.